The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland, which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Burnaby residents staged their death to get their voices heard.
A homeless camp reaches out for help.
And a 24-hour workout raised money for the Special Olympics.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Joel Ballard.
And I'm Corey Sidaway.
New Westminster was in crisis mode after an electrical fire broke out on the Queensborough Bridge early Wednesday morning, leaving thousands without power. Schools in the Queensborough neighborhood had to be closed and traffic had to be rerouted away from the bridge so crews could reach the area, which caused massive traffic headaches.
Power supply connecting Queensborough there is. So we do not know if it is going to be something that will have to be repairable or that will require a more significant repair.
I can't hear anything.
The Ministry of Transportation says there is no structural damage to the bridge and power has been restored to the area, despite original estimates of several days.
Burnaby residents staged a dramatic scene outside the office of Federal Minister Ralph Goodale to protest the Kinder Morgan expansion. My co-anchor Joel Ballard has a story.
Don't panic. The world isn't ending. They call it a die-in. Protesters conveying what they see as the potentially catastrophic loss of life due to the Kinder Morgan expansion.
This is the Office of Public Safety Canada. We're calling on them to do their job and to come up with an appropriate risk assessment and evacuation plans in the event of an emergency.
The expansion is expected to double the amount of tanks on Burnaby Mountain, and Kinder Morgan says the project will pump in $46.7 million into the Canadian economy and create 36,000 jobs per year over the next 20 years. The tank farm sits just below SFU and above Burnaby neighborhoods. These residents worry that a fire or spill would leave them trapped on the mountain. That's why they ascended 6 floors to deliver a letter to Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale. But all they found was a locked door.
I can't believe they locked the door.
That didn't stop one protester from turning her die-in to a sit-in.
It's an unfair process and they need to speak to us. You know, you can't close the door of leadership because you don't want to hear what we're saying.
BCIT Magazine reached out to Kinder Morgan, who said, the project received its environmental certificate, subject to 37 conditions, many in response to input from communities and Aboriginal groups. Kinder Morgan plans to build and operate this project in a manner that minimizes impacts to the environment and provides benefits to British Columbians. The die-in was fake, but these Burnaby residents' fears are real. And their fear has them standing together, regardless of what's to come. Joel Ballard, BCIT Magazine. A Maple Ridge homeless camp is asking the municipal and provincial government for aid before they voluntarily vacate their tent city. Ashley Burr spoke to those living in the camp about what they hope will happen next.
I think I deserve housing. I think everybody deserves housing.
This homeless camp in Maple Ridge conducted its own homeless people's homeless count to back up their plea to the city for greater aid.
A few of us went out to the bushes areas and to all the old camps that we've been to, where we know where people hide. We've counted out names, not numbers, because we have names, right? So we counted out minimum, you have 200 homeless people in Maple Ridge alone. We're asking for at least 200 minimum modular houses.
Get it started. We need it. It's necessary. We don't treat the neighborhood.
All night or week.
It has nothing to do with me. I work as well. I clean up the streets of Maple Ridge.
I Need a Place just behind me set up camp back in May, but its proximity to local businesses and single-family homes has people concerned.
But what's happened over the last few years is that we've had quite a division in those that are for the camp continuing and those that are against. He's cleaning up needles first thing in the morning, human excrement, you name it. It's been there. It's been cleaned as best as folks can so we can open our doors and welcome our customers first thing in the morning.
If you have something going wrong in your business, or people are leaving needles or something by your door, come tell me. I get people out in here to go out there and talk to people on the streets. If something's been stolen, we can find it quicker than the cops can any day, because they'll talk to us before they'll talk to a police officer. It will help.
Both the residents of Anita Place and their neighbors say they ultimately have the same goal, for the homeless in the camp to have access to alternate housing. I'm Ashley Burr in Maple Ridge for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Ashley Burr joins us now to give us more information on the homeless camp. Ashley?
So those living in Anita Place Tent City did their own homeless count and found that there are 200 people living on the streets of Maple Ridge. Now back in spring, the regional homeless count found there were 124 people living in Olive Ridge Meadows. By conducting their own homeless count, the people living in the camp say they are trying to open up negotiations with the provincial government. They broke up their proposal in a two-step plan. The first step is to get people off the streets and into modular housing. They're asking for about 200 units. The second step is then to build 200 units of permanent social housing. And something that I was hearing a lot when I visited Anita Place was that people do not want to go into shelters. They would rather live on the streets or outside in a tent.
Thanks, Ashley. CrossFit gyms around the nation participated in fundraising for Special Olympics Canada, but one local gym was inspired to take it a step further. Alexandra Fraser has more.
Peter Huntsman joined teams at Rain City as they raise money to help make sport and fitness more accessible to other kids with intellectual disabilities. Huntsman says that exercising is important for everybody and that he likes to lift weights.
I like those smaller ones more.
The smaller ones, yeah? How big?
Like this big.
A little bigger.
And I like to go on that thing that's like this.
What do we call that?
I don't know.
Ski-erg.
Ski-erg.
Yeah, do you like skiing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Along with Huntsman, teams at Rain City pushed their bodies to the limit as they did a 10-minute workout every hour for 24 hours as a part of the CrossFit 24 event. The money raised goes to Special Olympics Canada, and after being involved in this event for 4 years, Rain City was inspired to take initiative.
We're starting up a thing at Rain City we call the Rain City Fit Club. So it's for basically other kind of special needs groups and kids to show the same thing, bringing them in and run them through the same kind of group class we do with CrossFit. Everything we do can be scaled to any ability, no matter what, no matter who you are or where you come from, and we wanted to show that. And I think this event and the things that it's led us into does that, I hope.
Huntsman is a participant of the Fit Club and was happy to join in the fundraising workouts. Rain City contributed almost $6,000 to the national total of over $114,000. This money will help kids like Huntsman, who says he likes to exercise because it helps him get stronger.
I think you can carry me. Ready? Oh, close. A little more work.
You can't carry me.
You don't think I can carry
Yes,
you?
I do.
You don't think so? I think I can. Oh, pretty easy. I got you.
After a successful event, Rain City is excited to do even better next year. Alexandra Fraser in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Alexandra Fraser joins us now. Alex, where does this money raised go towards?
So the funds go to Special Olympics Canada, but here in BC, the funds they receive will go towards sports programming that runs throughout the year, in addition to health and fitness programs for individuals with intellectual disabilities of all ages. These programs are really important as they're able to provide the attention they need in addition to a supportive community that they might not otherwise have. Corey?
And have fundraisers like this changed the way people with intellectual disabilities are perceived?
Special Olympics BC said events like CF24 provide the funds for the activities, like I mentioned before, that help people with intellectual disabilities break stereotypes. They said that people with disabilities used to be perceived as unable to participate in sports and activities due to ability, but also because of safety concerns. However, with a platform like this, they're able to show the world that in fact they're able to do just that. Back to you.
Thanks, Alex. Coming up next on BCIT Magazine. With winter ahead, pedestrians face the most dangerous walking conditions.
And the city of Vancouver reveals a new street sign.
Back to order control.
It's a quick 2 years. They get you in and they get you out, but you leave with so much more knowledge than you walked in.
The BC Hockey League hosted the third annual BCHL Showcase last weekend. The showcase also allows fans to come.
The tools you learn are very valuable. You leave with a comprehensive knowledge of many of the programs that are used in everyday workforces around all the newsrooms in Vancouver. At the beginning of your 2-year program, you don't really expect that in 2 years' time you're walking out ready to be a part of the journalism industry.
Good morning and welcome to Evolution News. I'm Chantal Busquitsa.
I was lucky enough to get a job a week after I graduated. I think that has a lot to do with the teachers and fellow students prepping you for the outside life once you graduate from BCIT. Yeah, if it wasn't for BCIT, I'd be lost.
Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. Students and staffs were urged to break the cycle. Sierra Yaschuk hit the bike trail to see what students had to say about Bike to Work Week.
BCIT has hung up posters encouraging students to ditch their car and hop on your bike. The maps of bike routes and bike stations are posted around campus. For some students, Bike to School Week is just like any other week.
I bike to school most days, unless it's raining a lot. Yeah, it's pretty much a go-to. It's faster for me to bike to school than it is to take transit or to drive a car. So.
Other students have dusted off their bikes to participate.
I want to be healthy, and it's an easy and fun way to get to school. I transit mostly everywhere I go, so this is about the same time as it takes using transit as well.
We got bike maps donated by the city.
BCIT's Green Team Biking Committee have a station set up hosting bike mechanics, coffee, and cheering on the cyclists.
Activity, reduce greenhouse gases as well, and just it's economical as well. I mean, people start to realize that it's not as hard as they thought it was, and it's faster than they thought as well.
For those of you biking to school in the morning, try not to get too tired. I'm Sierra Yaschuk in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
We're now joined by Joe Boyd of the BCIT Bicycling Committee, who's coordinated this year's Bike to Work Week. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about Bike to Work Week?
Hi, Corey. Yes, Bike to Work Week it happens twice a year, and it's a week where we try to encourage people to cycle to work and to school.
And what got you initially into biking?
Part of it was just the freedom of cycling, and it's healthy. And it's also economical. I wasn't driving a car, so the bike got me everywhere.
So it's a good option for students here at BCIT?
It's a very good option, yes.
Now, why do you think it's important, other than economic reasons and financial, why do you think it's important to bike to work or to school?
It's good for your health, and it's also good for the environment. It saves greenhouse gases. It gets vehicles off the street as well.
So that being said, Vancouver's trying to be the greenest city. What do you think the government should do, or should they do more for bike lanes in the city?
More bike lanes would be really good. Better signs for bikes. And I think part of it is education for drivers and for cyclists to ride safely and to know where to ride.
So a lot about bike safety comes up in Vancouver. Yes. So you're thinking like awareness campaigns would work?
Awareness would help. Yes, awareness for everyone. And a lot of it is the infrastructure, the bike routes, separated bike lanes. It helps a lot.
Well, thanks for joining us here. We really appreciate you having you in the studio.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Police from the province are cracking down on drivers in the left lane, proving that slow doesn't always mean safe. Tiffany Goodwin has the story.
It's a frustrating moment on the daily commute. Drivers going too slow in the left-hand lane, causing a lot of this, and you guessed it, a long trail of frustrated drivers waiting to pass. Police started cracking down on left lane laggers in 2015, issuing over 1,500 tickets so far. And the fine for that? $167.
So dumb. Especially being a student, it's so dumb.
It is frustrating to see that people who would like to drive it slow, they are on the left lane.
I'm doing 58 kilometers an hour. It's a 60 zone. He's probably doing between 70 and 80, but I stayed right and he passed me. Everything's fine.
Ian Tootle is from Sense BC, a driver's advocacy group in Vancouver.
And they need to understand that the left-hand lane is there for passing and that the right-hand lane is for driving. In one sense, I'm happy that they are actually enforcing the law by issuing tickets, but in another sense, there's probably a few more to go, considering anecdotally what we witness on the roads with people sitting in the left-hand lane.
According to ICBC, Surrey dished out the most tickets, followed by Vancouver, Kelowna, and Kamloops. So before you head out into the left lane, remember to push on that gas pedal, or a ticket could soon be in your future. Tiffany Goodwin in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
October is Pedestrian Safety Month. My co-anchor Corey Sidaway found out how some commuters are learning to brighten up to help stay safe in the dark winter months.
With fewer daylight hours and bad weather, North Vancouver RCMP and ICBC are worried about pedestrian safety. To ensure pedestrians shine bright through Vancouver rain and fog, they're handing out small, easily attachable reflectors. They're designed to increase people's visibility to drivers during rainier and darker commutes. Locals say they'll be using them.
You know, it happens all the time. You're biking, getting closely shaved, and anything you can do to be more visible is always a good thing, so yeah.
It's just, you start to go out from the sidewalk and then there's a car that's just trying to make the corner really fast, like, oh, okay. I know. No, this will definitely help. Now that it's darker earlier,
Of course, especially when I go for a walk or biking, that may be a good idea.
ICBC says about 50% of crashes happen within 4 months of winter here in British Columbia. North Vancouver RCMP are suggesting that pedestrians and drivers put their phones down and drive cautiously.
We all see pedestrians walking with their head down, looking at their phone. Those 3 or 4 seconds you're walking across the street, looking down at your phone, could be those seconds that you could be aware of what's around you.
North Vancouver RCMP say these pedestrian accidents are preventable. They suggest that commuters wear something bright, stay off their phones, make eye contact with drivers, and only cross at designated crosswalks when the travel signal is green. Corey Sidaway in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A well-known Vancouver street received a new name this week. Our reporter Jesse McGowan tells us about the temporary transformation on Robson Street.
Your typical Vancouver intersection, right? Not on Whitecaps game day. The march to the match happens before every Whitecaps home game and will continue as the team kicks off the playoffs. The difference is now fans will no longer be marching down Robson Street.
And I think it's appropriate as we go into this playoff run that we officially designate this route through the city Whitecaps Way.
The Whitecaps Way road sign, which was announced on Whitecaps Day, will stay up for the duration of the playoffs. After the Caps missed the postseason in 2016, there's a lot of excitement this time around.
Our objective throughout this whole
start of the playoffs is to provide some pride to the city of Vancouver.
And the pride they strive for is something one local fan instantly felt just by looking at that new name.
I think it was pretty cool to finally see something celebrate the teams instead of just more merchandise. It's nice to see something a bit more cultural come into town.
Frank had few words to describe how it will feel to join that march.
I don't know, pure joy, just freedom to celebrate your own team. Yeah.
With a Vancouver franchise back in the playoffs this year, you don't have to look hard to see signs the city's ready. Jesse McGowan in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We're now joined by Jesse McGowan. Jesse, we know the Whitecaps won on Wednesday night. Can you tell us more about their victory?
Yeah, Joel, so the Whitecaps won a wild affair on Wednesday night. 5-0 was the final score against the San Jose Earthquakes. Freddie Montero netted that first goal for the Caps 33 minutes in. It was actually the first home playoff goal scored by the Whitecaps in franchise history. After that, 4 more goals found the back of the net, lifting the team up to that 5-0 victory, the Whitecaps' first ever in playoff history. Joel?
What's next for the team?
Coming up next is the MLS Western semifinals on Sunday. Now they're going to be facing the champions from last year, the Seattle Sounders. Seattle took down Toronto FC to win the championship in 2016, and they're going to have to get past the Caps if they want to repeat this year. First game Sunday night at BC Place before the teams head down to Seattle for that game 2 next Thursday. Back to you.
Thanks, Jesse. Coming up next on BCIT Magazine. BCIT invites stressed out students to be a kid for a day.
And the reason a Vancouver store has stopped carrying certain costumes.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
Standby graphics, ready camera 1.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news,
Today on BCIT Magazine, striking,
make magic on a movie set,
frame,
and action,
or bring your creative ideas to life, BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
Welcome back. BCIT held a variety of events to help students deal with stress. As our reporter Tanushri Pillai found out, mental health issues strike in different ways.
I love to paint.
Himadri Joshi isn't your regular painter. A second-year marketing student at BCIT, today is her birthday. It's also midterm exam time for her, so instead of celebrating, Himadri is painting.
Entered school this morning, so it's a fun thing to do.
BCIT Student Association held the Kid for a Day event as part of its Speak Up, Speak Out mental health program. The program provides students with different options to seek the help they need.
What we're trying to do is we're actually trying to change the culture surrounding how we speak and deal with mental health and well-being. So through a series of events, we're using an interactive and fun platform to kind of start the conversation and get students thinking more consciously and actively about how they support their mental health and well-being.
Students can paint, or color, or hula hoop.
You can even build a self-care kit. Chocolates, green tea, and a stress ball.
Organizers say by talking to someone about their problems, students can help erase the stigma around mental health.
I think it's important that they have these events because many people don't want to talk about mental health and it's such an important issue. So I think it's great that they have all this set up for students because no one really wants to talk about it, and even they would just come here and anyone can do it. It's not like it's targeted to anyone. Anyone can come here and have fun.
According to the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, 1 in 5 Canadians experiences a mental health problem. Given these numbers, It's paramount that students seek the help they want. But if talking about the problem doesn't work, there's always painting to color those blues away. Tanushri Pillai in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Some Halloween costumes have caused a stir online about cultural appropriation. Our reporter Nicholas Cavallo went to one Halloween store that decided to make a change.
Halloween is creeping up, and people are still being tricked or treated at costume stores. While Halloween is a time for fun, some costume choices have upset certain Indigenous groups. One fabric store in downtown Vancouver has decided to change their inventory in response to complaints. Dress News has decided to no longer sell their Aboriginal costumes in their stores. Once the stock ran out, they no longer ordered further inventory of the Aboriginal costumes. This allows them to stay ahead of the competition.
You know, I really don't understand why they would continue carrying those costumes. I don't think, putting profit over people is really a good thing for any business.
One Indigenous group spoke up back in 2015 saying, "It's going to take a lot of concerted effort to deal with these racial notions of Indigenous peoples in this country. I suspect that they get their products offshore from other countries that do not know or understand this is an issue here in North America." While other stores continue to sell their costumes, this fabric store has chosen to listen to their customers. Nicholas Cavallo in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
That's all for BCIT Magazine. I'm Joel Ballard.
And I'm Corey Sidaway. We leave you now with footage from FSFU's campus.